Lahai was such a anticipated album, and so largely I think it delivered. How do you feel about these songs now that there's a little bit of distance between them being released and also when you wrote them?
Oh, how do I feel about them now? It's difficult to say. I'm in a period where I'm like, I'm sort of not over it, but I've listened to them a lot, and I play them. And you know what? It's what's special about them is that they're taking on their own life, and it's quite otherworldly to think that these songs I've written have sort of now just they're free and they're kind of out there, and you know, people the collective consciousness is making sense of them and making more of it than I might have done myself. So I definitely saw it as, you know, like a stepping stone sort of thing, like these kind of questions I have and these sort of methods of, you know, creation or, you know, production that I tried out, you know, things that I want to expand upon, or, you know, things that I want to, you know, further investigate. So it's definitely, I always see it as a document, you know, like a picture in time.
Yeah, of course. It feels like a real exploration. Do you feel like you got some answers in part of the process?
Yeah, definitely. It was quite an intuitive process making the record. You know, I didn't go into the studio with like concepts and songs written. Sort of just threw things at the canvas and sort of stared at the reflection. And I think it's in that staring at the reflection, I sort of found out things that are like, oh, I'm really attached to these kind of themes or these subjects or this type of style. I think I was a bit more self-aware when I was staring at the self-reflection, more so this time round. You know, in the context of COVID gave me a bit of time to sort of think, oh, I need a bit of bird's eye view in my life. I'm just kind of living, you know, day to day, not really questioning things, and sort of, I could be sleepwalking over it into a cliff, you know, and I feel like I just, you know, I needed something like a daily practice, something to sort of ground me or to make me feel thankful or make me get back in tune with my feelings, because I definitely felt like, you know, life can be quite harsh, and you know, you can definitely start to detach yourself a bit.
How do you, I guess, use your personal experiences to inform how you're exploring in your music?
Well, music's always had that kind of special ability to kind of like articulate or frame how I'm feeling. At times where I might not frame how I'm feeling in it day to day, I might just scoot, like, you know, like there's times where I might hit a chord like a suspended or like a dissonant thing, and it's like, oh, this is how I'm feeling, and it's kind of like, okay, great, I'm in a dark place. Oh, I know now, because you know, there's times where you're kind of smiling and you're just kind of getting on with things, and but there's times where music really. So yeah, it has that sort of, I guess, function, and then I guess it gives me a space for me to kind of, I guess, give moments or memories like an emotion or like gravitas or a meaning, you know, like it can or it can frame them, you know. And I think framing things and honoring things is important, because so much stuff, that's the beauty of like songwriting or art. It's just like, there's times where, you know, the best songs are like, I know exactly what that person's talking about, I just never thought to frame it or put it in a frame.
I wanted to talk about the visual poem that you put out, Lahai, Time Travels Memories. What do you feel like you can explore in a visual medium that maybe is a little different to writing?
Like I write very visually.
Yeah.
So when I make music, I'll have like photo books open, art books open. I'll put like movies or videos on mute and just watch and play them. So it's like visuals are very big, like they're very connected to me, I guess. One thing I found with especially at editing, like visuals, is that there's a rhythm to life that is like really beautiful, that I wouldn't find in music necessarily. Yeah. So I feel like that kind of, I guess at that crossroad or like intersection is like, is nice, because it's like, oh, when I try and fit music to the visuals, like something I would never have never would have come across if I was just thinking, you know, about music for music's sake.
Yeah.
It's just something I connect to really as well. Like I just like the texture and of things and sort of colours. They're all things that I feel like I'm quite aesthetic. So for me, sonic aesthetic and visual aesthetic are, part of the same universe.
Yeah, of course. And you're not a stranger to collaborating with different people. And how has that collaboration kind of pushed you to approach music in a different way?
Well, one, I guess sometimes it kind of smoothens out my ego, for one, and, recognize. And as I'm getting older as well, I just like being around people, and I like that exchange, But, getting people to like work on my own music is definitely something that I'm still growing into, I'm always, I've always been happy to be of service to people, but it's been, it's been a journey really sort of bringing people into, when I'm sort of captaining the ship, bringing people onto my journey, onto my map. It's, it's been definitely this record was an exploration in that sort of direction also, yeah. There is definitely, sometimes you start to transcend you having to be the author of everything, and sometimes, and sometimes I recognize that I'm not the author of everything anyway, to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Even everything has been created. Everything is, it's just that I'm a filter, and and I've had my unique experiences in life. So something's going to touch me for some certain reason that you play, and it touches me, and I use it in maybe a way that that person wouldn't have used it, or there's a real ecosystem as well, a beautiful ecosystem in studios whereby people come up with ideas, and when you're that person, when you're the source, sometimes your hippocampus might not be all that, or your working memory might not be all that, because it's just coming to you, and someone else's working memory is better. So they'll be like, oh, that idea you did like just then, and you're like, oh, what idea? And he's like, oh, great, I recorded it. And so there's that special kind of 3D structure that happens when there's people in there who can you can perform a different function, whether it be like, oh, I'm the producer now, and this person's the artist, and I'm going to produce this, or we might switch roles, and I'm going to be the person who's like just letting, and someone else is going to be the person sort of doing the editing and sort of having that sort of objective mind. So yeah, it's great, and it's a learning process as well,
Yeah, it sounds like it really all comes together in a really satisfying way.
Yeah, I mean, there's times as well where it's like you learn at some points in your life you might just want to be really selfish, and I don't want to collaborate.
Yeah,
I want to just go into my own world and be a hermit and get cabin fever and just see where my own mind takes me. And
with touring so extensively, you just came from New Zealand and you've got a bunch of shows here in Australia, then you're off to North America. What do you do for yourself to kind of keep grounded with such a extensive kind of tour booked for you?
Yeah, to keep grounded, that's a good question. I need to figure that one out still. I can't lie, I'm not grounded. I'm just floating. Luckily I've got like people, they've got a string on me. But I go to the gym, I try to stay healthy. Actually, I'm probably like the healthiest when I'm touring, which is bad. My off season could get better, to be honest with you.
I just had one more question.
Yeah, go for it.
You've talked about, I guess, the idea of tenderness a few times in your music, and what does tenderness mean to you?
It's a difficult concept. I think there is sometimes a nature to myself that like I at times thought was like weakness. Not even in weakness is fine. I think tenderness for me is can be unconditional love to a certain degree, and that's recognizing all how difficult life is, basically, how fragile it is, alongside your strength and and resilience. But there's times where people need tenderness. It's that thing of like connecting to your imperfections and someone else's imperfections and someone else's individuality or commonality or whatever, but just like approaching things with like a care and a deep love, whether it's like educating someone or talking to someone, or not jumping to conclusions, or listening to someone and not having to have an answer. I don't know. It's a big thing, but
Yeah.